Bans coming out. Obviously, Soraka was left through a little bit for Cloud9 Tempest. As soon as EG got that off the table, they were able to take much better control of that series. I expect that to kind of be a permanent ban in this one.
Yeah, I feel like the bans that we see right here will kind of remain consistent throughout this BO3. Largely.
BO5.
Yeah, sorry, throughout the BO5. My apologies. Like,
unless you're calling a sweep right now.
No. I mean, that would still be best of 5, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, unless you're going to first pick one of those champions, I would never let Shiphtur get Nidalee. I would never let ZionSpartan get Jax. And I would never let Probably get Ziggs or Soraka. So there we go. First pick Lucian comes through to put the pressure onto WizFujiiN to help carry. But it also means there's nothing else that Coast is really trying to take as a conflict pick. Aphromoo
is pretty adamant as well about Lucian and Corki being a cut above the rest of the 80 carries. Lucian being first pick is no surprise. It happened throughout most of the playoffs. And again here in the promotion tournament.
But it's going to be the magic damage duo picked up, though, for compLexity.Black. The Karma, which could be Bubbadub. We did see it only played as a support so far today, but as we saw Bjergsen pull it out, Karma could go mid. BrokenShard's Elise is very strong, and he likes to play early aggressive. He likes to try to force plays, make moves, and a champion like Elise has a lot of power in the first few levels.
And getting gold is very important for him as well. You do not want to fall behind hopelessly on Elise, especially if they're going to do that Meteos build that he's been doing, which is the Lock of the Iron Solari into a Void Staff really late in the game. But that's a nice pick for BrokenShard aggression-wise. I really like the Orianna in the mid lane as well. And of course they lock in Corki because he is the 2 to Lucian's 1, I guess, power rankings of 80 carries currently in the pro scene.
As far as their opinions go, it's kind of how they stack up in this one. So Corki, Lucian, once again, the grabs. I think we saw that like every single game in the prior series as well, unless I'm mistaken on some of that.
Yeah, I feel like we did.
Yeah.
Twitch would be the third one.
Yeah.
But not so much in North America.
True, yeah, Twitch is bigger in Europe and Korea, but the rush of the picks come through. Evelyn comes in for NintendudeX. The Lee Sin top lane does go through for Zion. And we saw how good Lee Sin was, but I feel like that's something that Westrice knows about. Now, the funny thing is...
He does.
Yeah, of course he does, but I'm thinking back to right before spring promo. There was the trinity of top laners was Jax, Renekton, Lee Sin, Riven. And I remember talking to compLexity.Black about this, and they said, yes, we would just ban Renekton, and Westrice would just counterpick everything with Lee Sin. Like, no matter what, that would be what he played to win. Of course, that's been taken away, and I want to know now how he fights this trifecta of champions.
It's funny, the challenger scene and the relegated teams are kind of chock full of Lee Sin top players.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly effective. Talking on the desk with Link and Aphromoo, they were really adamant about Lee Sin top being so annoying when the other team can't play it. Yes. It offers so much lane pressure. Once you get that Hydra, you shove in super fast, and he is an assassin, pretty much. You can always get on a squishy and blow him up. But the Renekton pick is the tank to try and shut down the assassination build on Lee Sin. A smart pick for Westrice, not necessarily his style, but he's going to use it to try and shut down ZionSpartan.
He's good at it overall. I got to say, it's not a bad pick for him either way, and that is kind of... I think that's the champion you pick when you do want to fight Lee Sin. It does a couple of things, actually. So one, Renekton has a good matchup in general, but two, to win the matchup as Lee Sin, you actually usually have to max Safeguard, so it lowers his damage output for the entire early to mid game. And so that'll be one kind of thing that'll stymie some of Zion's movements, is his damage will be lower. We'll see how the champions match up. Here's Team Coast. Pretty support-focused. You got the Lulu mid plus the Morgana. Lucian, the safe backline carry.
Lulu is not something Shiphtur's been able to get his hands on very much during the regular season.
True.
It's also not a heavy amount of his style as you normally think of. He has been an assassin player, but especially on this patch, we're still on the 4.5 with all of the heals. At the moment, it's just not the style he wants to play. The Lulu, if he's good at it and if he's practiced it, will be effective.
It's a great roamer, which is actually kind of one of the styles he's adopted, is the early game movement to new lanes. See what pans out. The champs are locked in and loading, so let's total up the votes and see which team you guys pick to win. And according to LOLesports.com, 65% said that Coast are going to take the series. Now remember, we're also going to be checking the vote over at Twitter throughout the series, so keep those coming.
Yeah, tweet us at LOL Esports and use the hashtag CSTWin for Coast or CLBWin for compLexity.Black.
We'll see which one gets it as we go on to the games. People are good at looking at champions saying, you know what, I like this comp more. Looking at First Blood and saying,
I think
like
I
me to
win this pick for ourselves. One team new in the LCS so far. This is our last promotion series, best of 5. Europe had no turnover. All of the incumbent LCS teams were able to win out. And then earlier today, we saw Evil Geniuses keep their spot. Let's see if Coast can do it, or if compLexity.Black become the second new team in the LCS.
We'll see how it goes. Europe went, what, 9-3 overall in their total matches, in their like incumbents versus challengers. Right now in North America, it sits at 3-4 in favor of the challenger teams. We'll see how Coast and compLexity.Black tip that in their favor. CLB making their way down to the bottom side. Bubbadub taking the long way around. He does have a ward in his inventory. Maybe the pixel brush by Dragon.
The what brush?
The little like individual brush.
You call it the pixel
Kobe
brush?
calls it that, and I decided I'd adopt it.
I want to just call it the river brush.
Yeah, I do too. Kobe's silly. It's way more than 1 pixel.
Absolutely. This
like
could be interesting.
Well, WizFujiiN gets revealed. compLexity.Black only show 1 member, though. Only the fact that Corky's there is known, but they can assume the rest.
Well, here, I really wonder if we're going to get to see 2v2s. Something that was really strange about the last series is it seemed like Alltech and Glebe from Cloud9 Tempest could hold a much stronger 2v2 lane than YellowPete and Crepo for the majority of the series, but they were never able to force it.
Yeah.
At this point, RobertxLEE and Bubbadub are one of the strengths of compLexity.Black, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And WizFujiiN and Daydreamin are often people who avoid 2v2 lanes. I want to see if we see the same back and forth here, and since Coast did get spotted by the phosphorus bomb, they pretty much know that compLexity.Black is going bottom. And if they want to swap top, then they would have to do that now.
Not going to be the case, though. We will have the standard 2-on-2 lanes. Looks like we still have the buddy system jungling, though, because they just can't be completely certain on this one, but Coast know that their blue buff is not getting invaded. And BrokenShard and Westrice will start here on the top side of the map. And we'll see how the lanes all pan out right here. Westrice.
Yeah. Or just maybe even recall and then TP, if I had to guess.
It's normal because you get 2 potions that way, 2 extra potions. So you'll start with Adorn's Blade in 3. And you don't miss any really experience this way either. Both top laners going to be there at about the same time. Both going for the 3 potion start. And here we go, extra sustain to keep the matchup safe. 2 melee side for CS.
We actually do get the standard lanes here. Corky, Karma, the lane debuted really with Cloud9, the LCS team. Just a high damage lane. That's really all you can say about it. Both of them very strong at early trading. And it's going to be on Daydreamin and Fusion to just avoid the damage. They did not get the early level 2, so they're immediately put on the back foot. Additionally, since it's fairly telling with the bottom lane there that NintendudeX went red to blue buff, compLexity.Black has no fear of gank. They can bully that lane as much as they want to for the next couple minutes.
We'll see Nintendude walk right near Westrice.
No more, it's not going to do much, though.
Yeah, but they're about to face check into BrokenShard.
They did not see him.
Did not.
He was still missing. There he is.
Okay, reveals on a Westrice. He's going to dash twice, get in the river, but BrokenShard's there, lands a cocoon, and the damage now goes to Nintendude. Forced to run away. ZionSpartan actually doesn't do much to help him out. Nintendude losing a lot of health. BrokenShard losing some as well.
Interesting, though, that no summoners were actually burned in that exchange. It was a nice stun by BrokenShard, but no incredibly quick people to engage. No flashing forward into people. And it ends up just being a trade of health on the junglers, and the top laners have burned through all of their health potions already.
I gotta give a slight sustain lead to Renekton there in this one, so we'll see if that does pan out this way. Right now a 5 minion lead to Westrice. A big minion wave is there to push into Zion's turret. See if he holds on well to this one. No Elise will tower dive this. Zion is pretty safe in this matchup.
You can tell Nintendude's trying to get us going. Is one of the big things here. It's one of the rare lanes, actually, that the Lee Sin is turtling for a while and then is going to look to outscale. You don't think of that as a top lane Lee Sin, but against the Renekton, that's the story.
It's the story for pretty much everyone who fights Renekton early on. He's going to try to hold on. Probably and BrokenShard stealing away some of the early jungle camps there. Look at that. Probably actually, given the CS, get some extra gold and XP for that one. He will hit level 6 before Shiphtur then if this pans out correctly for him.
And look at the CS right now. Even with the wave even in the middle, he's still up by about 10 on Shiphtur. So probably with his lane mechanics and Orianna are big, but there's the Eve gank. BrokenShard a little bit behind him.
And it's right as Nintendude goes in for the gank. The summoner heal used with the re-engage. The flash on the cocoon. BrokenShard now well in the front. Nintendude gets what he can. The shield comes down. BrokenShard, is he slowed enough? Shiphtur goes down though. The ignite making it enough. Well, they're not doing enough. BrokenShard stays alive.
Really big plays there. Neither mid laner were able to burn their flash there, but BrokenShard just aggressively going for that gank was the right time to go in. Makes Prawley's lane advantage even bigger.
Wow, Westrice getting found out by Zion, but jumps the wall. He's going to be safe in an 8-minion lead in the top lane. BrokenShard clears the minion waves, letting Probably get the recall. And with first blood gold, he's going to have a lot to buy.
Yeah, compLexity.Black is looking to come out and kind of just punch Coast in the face at the start of this game. It is straight up lanes, and they are winning by 1,200 gold 5.5 minutes into this one. That is immensely huge for compLexity.Black because they are the team that probably has the best rotations of the challenger teams. And the fact that they are mainly just laning against Coast, who is supposed to have these near the top of the LCS solo laners, speaks volumes for how compLexity.Black is going to do in this game.
Completely stepping up. This is really great for compLexity.Black fans out there. 700 teleports are back available. Westrice already recalled back for a second Doran's Blade and a cloth armor. It's going to be pickaxe here for ZionSpartan. And a pink ward now put down. The first of presumably many here. Bubbadub's recall stopped, and 15 gold goes to Daydreamin.
The animation stuck around for a while, but I assure you it was stopped as soon as the Dark Binding hit him. That's actually going to be pretty annoying for him, because he needs to go back. He's got 20 gold short of a Sightstone, or he could upgrade into a Frost Fang if he really wanted to, but the Sightstone's probably the likely choice for Bubbadub. But the fact is his backing is a little desynced, and it's going to mean Robert has to solo farm some of those waves.
So here we go, pings around. They know BrokenShard actually is waiting around right in that brush. Shiphtur, only level 5 though, has got to be worried about Cocoon and Shockwave from Probably. Look how far back Shiphtur's playing, knowing the gank's around. Of course, with BrokenShard recalled, you'd never know. He's going to walk right back out. No gank happens.
Yeah, it's really interesting choice here by Coast to have Shiphtur on Lulu. Obviously, they respect the power of the champion. They want the supportive style, but it's just not his style. Westrice going to pop off here, 1v2.
2-on-1, but it's Westrice with the ultimate available. Goes in towards the Nintendude. Big damage comes through. No more dashes left.
Zion
does have flash. Kick Q. Westrice keeps himself alive with a flash.
Zion hit 6 during that gank, which made Westrice immediately retreat after he popped his ultimate for aggression. Going to be a big wave push up top for Coast as well. They're either going to look to take the turret or dive, and Westrice stuck around.
They're going to dive. He tries to heal, but it's not enough. Nintendude gets the kill credit for it. Greedy from the Renekton.
One of Westrice's Achilles heels throughout his competitive career is he always wants to make the big play and often fails at it, costing him hugely. When it works, he looks amazing, but when it doesn't, it is disastrous. His teleport is not even up. He should have abandoned that turret, and he ends up giving a kill back to Nintendude, which will in turn put Nintendude back in the game and impact the entire compLexity.Black team.
One thing to point out with Zion as well, you talk about the teleport being down, is that Zion actually is a player that's saving his TP on the way back to lane. That's still available. He didn't use it last time he picked up the pickaxe. Grabs a longsword and a potion, still walks back towards lane. If a dragon fight does erupt, Zion's there, Westrice isn't.
It's going to be huge, especially if they decide to do that dragon very soon here, but compLexity.Black continuing the jungle invades. BrokenShard is continuing to keep his pressure up, and they're going to try and capitalize on their strengths right now. I don't expect BrokenShard to spend too much time with Westrice. I think he's going to hover around the mid lane and get Probably going. Games where Shiphtur doesn't do well generally aren't games that Coast wants to be in, and I think that's going to be BrokenShard and Probably's focus.
Yeah, and we're going to see Shiphtur underneath his turret, 20 minions down. WizFujiiN in a bit of a battle. Black Shield blocks some damage. RobertxLEE winning the trade there, up a Doran's Blade.
Yeah, stuck around a little bit longer in lane, got that Doran's Blade for Robert, and another gank up top trying to punish Westrice.
Good damage. He does not have flash. He pops the ulti. Ward comes out. One more Q. Ooh, Cocoon might buy some time, but does get the kill.
Yeah, it actually just sucked BrokenShard and Probably away from lane and jungle, making an even bigger comeback for Coast. The gold is now evened out. Remember, that's 1,200 gold that just evened out because of a couple ganks onto Westrice. So Zion and Nintendude teaming up to take Westrice down again.
In case you guys missed it, that was a ward hop safeguard in the lane for Zion. So useless ward, but it got him the kick where he wanted it. So awesome stuff. Westrice does
his trinket ward.
Yeah, it was a trinket ward.
Yeah.
So whatever, 2-minute cooldown, he'll have it back pretty soon. The teleport does go through top lane for Westrice. Once again, the recall for Zion. As soon as he gets a kill, cashes in on the money for a Tiamat now. His bottom lane push, though, not great for Coast. You're seeing RobertxLEE, Bubbadub, high on health, reasonable on mana. Coast losing CS to their turret, and this turret itself down a half HP.
Those empowered Qs from Karma really hurt on top of a turret. Because they've gotten them low, you can tell BrokenShard really wants to make some type of dragon play happen, but he did walk through a ward. I feel like Coast has the patience to withstand this gank.
It's pretty likely for these guys. We do have Nintendude, though, slinking around in the back. He's not going double golems just yet.
I actually feel like this might backfire. It depends how fast they can get this one. There is a teleport on Zion, but not on Westrice. The dragon going down very quickly, though. See if Coast contests.
Not even trying to. There's limited ward coverage, and compLexity.Black just fully sneaked that one. Just with, I think, largely the bottom lane lead, the fact that WizFujiiN's not very durable.
They had taken Daydreamin very low, so the Morgana ult would have been a non-factor. So that was just a nice dragon call by BrokenShard, knowing they were down a teleport, but forcing nonetheless. They really make up for some of their failures top lane.
So Nintendude's got to be a bit careful. BrokenShard's going to spot him out. Doesn't land the cocoon, though. Does kill the ward on the back of that one.
But he gained knowledge that there's a pink ward in there.
Yes, he
without taking too much damage, so that's actually not that bad for Nintendude, who needs to make this game count. He's the one with the 2 kills.
It's true. Already got the Lizard Elder. He is pretty much a completed item above BrokenShard right now. See if he can capitalize. Westrice does spend some time top lane pushing in 85 to 72 despite the death, still holding a minion lead. But I wonder how well Ninja Tabby Double Doran's Blade is going to do in this fight.
I think straight up trading, Westrice can still come out on top, but it's going to be about a sustained battle and whether he can shove, because ZionSpartan's going to be clearing those creeps as much as he wants to and then just start roaming around. That's one of the most important things here.
And Zion actually did go for a high damage build to make this work. He's maxing the Q first with a point and safeguard second. So it's helped him get the ganks. He's got so much attention from Nintendude. The damage has helped turn that into kills. But also just, yeah, when he shows up and hits a squishy, like he's going to bring Robert to half on like one combo.
Really trying to take advantage of those 2 gank kills as well. Gives him a bit of a lane freedom so he doesn't have to max safeguard.
So we're going to see this duo lane now keep playing out.
Living up in the top lane. Westrice has got to be a little bit careful. He's not very high on health. Nintendude would lead with ultimate, especially if he gets a little too far out.
Kicks him back into the minion lane, misses the Q though. Has a safeguard right out. Nintendude also ulted though, a bit more than he needed, but 2 ults for 1.
Especially ulting him while he's at half health isn't going to do that much since Evelyn's ultimate is based off of current HP. 1 failed game.
Finding lands on RobertxLEE though. The root comes in. Bubbadub not going to land much though because of the black shield. WizFujiiN though forced away. RobertxLEE and Bubbadub still winning the matchup. Again, the fight from Westrice. Nintendude down to half HP, forced away. And BrokenShard was there for the counter gank anyway. Damage on a probably good from Shiphtur.
This game is becoming very interesting. I like what Westrice is doing now, not conceding the lane to Zion just because he died twice. He knows the strength of Renekton and he's continuing to try and punish. And the rest of the lanes for compLexity are holding strong. They're actually winning against Coast. So if Westrice can show strong against Zion despite getting ganked twice, compLexity.Black could win this one.
Look at this with the 2-on-1. Zion having to play a little bit back. The turrets loses health as well. Cocoon, some harass. Look at WizFujiiN. Takes a black shield, has to get away once again. Coast's bottom lane, like they're only down 13 minions, but the turrets a couple minutes from dying.
They're really close to getting
and one BrokenShard gank kills them.
They get those turrets, it's going to mean a huge swing in the game. They already controlled the dragon, and since they were standard lanes, they do not have any turret objective gold on the map so far. Things are still looking up for compLexity right here. Athene's completed for Prawley as opposed to Shiphtur just sitting on the chalice.
Yeah. And remember when the dragon, ooh, here we go. Finding misses, Nintendude's not going to get anything either. CLB gets away. And one thing I want to point out is when the dragon went down, it was a 900 gold lead. It's now up to 1100, so the laning phase continues to still work better for compLexity.Black. Over and over again, like Coast have more kills, and there's just still down this gigantic gold deficit. Red buff goes back over to Coast. Looks like Zion trying to capitalize on this small lead in his lane though. Going for the red buff. BrokenShard's already grabbing blues. This will probably pay out, but he's going to walk right into Westrice. There's the ulti popped.
He's going to hop over the wall, unless he can block his skill shots. Oh,
good
nice
kick.
Back over. The chase continues.
He can ward hop. He flashes. His safeguard might have been down. Gets away. Ward hops. The shockwave. But the flash cocoon flashed away by Shiphtur. Everybody's safe.
A lot of summoner spells and ultimates used right there. Shiphtur, Zion, both flash alts down. Flash alt down mid lane. And let's see if they can get lane pressure off this. The health of the turrets and the buff control are huge.
Smite's used, and it's Nintendude who gets it, I believe, but he's getting harassed down. Pops the ulti, runs away. Cocoon hits Shiphtur. He's got to be careful, but Coast at least secures their own blue buff, just not on the right target.
compLexity.Black needs to get some lane pressure off of all these expended summoner spells. They're burning things again and again, but they can't close out on things. So far, all that stuff, since it's actually taken time, has decreased their gold lead ever so slightly. They have to get some pressure back.
WizFujiiN, yeah. Losing some health in that one. Coast is scrapping together in that lane. The fact they're not losing more minions than this is impressive to me, but it's still a place of pain. Teleport back in for Zion. Dragon's up in 50 seconds, though. Westrice will have his TP up about a minute before Zion will.
Yeah, that bottom lane has just been a performance by Robert and Bubbadub. There haven't been ganks down, you know?
One from Elise, or Evelyn, rather.
One from Eve, even. A couple of attempts, and it still went heavily in the side of compLexity.Black. It's a powerhouse lane, but specifically, it's just WizFujiiN and Daydreamin losing the turret. Let's see if that allows BrokenShard to put attention elsewhere, and if they can turn that into a bigger edge.
Well, looks like the bottom lane pick we're going to be controlled, but a 1v2 here. ZionSpartan losing a bunch of health, but just takes out BrokenShard by himself. He's going to walk back to his turret. He's got to be careful, though. Big damage here from Westrice. Lands the stun. Slice and dice the Qs. He tries to juke away. He won't. Westrice gets out.
Even so, a 1v2 for a 1-to-1 is big moves right there. That's the assassination play paying off from ZionSpartan.
Good Black Shield. Yeah, here we go. It's going to be BrokenShard dead. Westrice on the wrong side of that without teleport. If Coast get there in time, it's a 4v3.
They're rushing it, but how strong is Prawley feeling right now? There's 2 summoner heals up on both sides of the map. This dragon going down fast. They're just trying to poke down maybe a fight if they get a miracle shockwave.
Good smite. They've got to be aware of the ball, though. Bubbadub does not land the root. Shockwave. Dodge away, but Nintendude's got to be careful. He's going to get the ulti and stay alive a little bit longer. He gets out. Summoner heals use Daydreamin now without flash. Not in a good spot. Roots up RobertxLEE. He's going to go down. Shiphtur now. Maybe overextended. BrokenShard on the chase. Good rocket from Robert. Chase on in. Shiphtur trying to run. Gets taken out.
No turret.
And there's no turret now. WizFujiiN's trying to run. Will it be 3 for 0? BrokenShard still in the chase. Yes, it will. 3 for 0 for Dragon.
compLexity.Black collapses on the Dragon, and they might get mid-turret off this as well. Even if they give up the Dragon getting 3 kills and a total of 3 turrets being down on the map means map control is also in the favor of compLexity.
With a 3,500 gold lead to boot, compLexity.Black showing up great in game 1. Watch that fight again.
Yeah, this was really just Coast splitting up 3v4 instead of just turning and driving them off. If Coast would have driven them back through into the jungle together, then they could have fallen away together. But because they stuck around, it was really just a lack of coordination. compLexity.Black is the team known for better teamwork. They made it work 3v4, and then they all chased together. Rockets over the wall using the Orianna move speed, flanking around the sides. You can see Karma making a run for it while BrokenShard chases it if they needed a little bit of insurance off the back of it. Just nice play by compLexity, grants them a pretty big advantage.
Massive for these guys. You're seeing it manifests in a couple of different ways. Top laner still holding pretty equal, but look at that extra needlessly large rod now for Prawley. Fan vote starting to turn a little bit more compLexity.Black's way, although after that fight, I would tip it even farther. BrokenShard getting rid of wards now, so there's no pinks on the map for Coast anymore. There's 1 in the bottom lane.
Yeah, the 2 kills for Nintendude haven't given them much else since then. His itemization is not creeping ahead of what BrokenShard has, and he would like to make a big impact here. He's trying to get rid of these pink wards, but he has to be scared back since they're down the outer turrets. It's hard to get map control back at that point.
You see Westrice and Zion once again in a fight. Westrice low on health. Zion's already burned ulti. If he lands the Q, he gets him. Lands it. There he goes. The solo kill here, so they can rely on Zion. He's the only solo that I want to say winning. He's down CS, but like
winning. He's winning by a lot. He's turned kills 1v2. He just soloed the Renekton. Hydra is completed. He's going even more offensively. And compLexity doesn't have someone they can put against him, is the biggest thing. At this point, Coast needs to manipulate the map, so whenever Zion pulls up people towards him, they can make a play elsewhere. It's a style that Coast needs to be able to perfect because that's the way they play, whether it's Shiphtur that is the carry or Zion that is the carry. They win by split pushing. They don't necessarily win as a team, and they have a strong split push in this game.
And they've got enough wave clear in Lucian, Morgana, Lulu to potentially keep turrets alive. There's not a great siege from compLexity.Black. They've got some poke. But maybe Ghost holds on. I want to know how well compLexity.Black plays around objectives then. Right? The dragon was taken. Like, Ghost pulled 2 guys up top lane, killed BrokenShard, kept Westrice there. They went for that 4v3 on dragon, but that got turned around. BrokenShard showed up by the end.
Yeah.
Picked up some kills. So if Ghost can clear those things faster, then they get away with it.
This makes it a really difficult game for both teams to play. Because each team kind of has a squadron that is stronger than the other one. ZionSpartan does his own thing, way stronger, demands 2 people up top to take him down. Whereas the rest of Coast just kind of has to let him work. And that means the rest of compLexity needs to use the 4 to do big work on their own. Look at that chase.
Nintendu gonna be here as well. He's almost in range for the kick. Flashes over, kicks him right into Nintendude. Westrice's got nowhere to go. Kill picked up. 3 kills actually onto the Evelyn.
Yeah, 3 bottom though. Look at the wave clear. Culling your used just to burn the wave. That's all Fusion is trying to do right now. Delays the push, so Zion can do some more work.
Black Shield keeps him all right. Shiphtur, though, losing the matchup to Probably still. Big damage comes through. Shockwave hits. The shield keeps him okay for now, but it's a risky situation. What's weird to me is also Shiphtur went Ignite, like he expected to win the matchup.
Yeah, and he has been getting destroyed by Probably and the gang pressure from BrokenShard. There's still a push up top. It seems like compLexity.Black is just throwing caution to the wind, trying to make something happen. They do not want to deal with Lee Sin. They're trying to deal with the other ones, but that can't work forever. He needs help, Westrice does.
And the 5v3 isn't working. And you're going to see now the inhibitor turret down to 3/4. compLexity.Black still not responding. WizFujiiN at this point just playing stop the recall. Here comes Westrice, but the turret is about to go down. That's picked up now. Westrice again to half. The chase still there. Has to flash. Zion lands the Q.
Whoa.
He goes in, but BrokenShard's there. He's going to make it a 1-for-1.
Inhibitor turret down. ZionSpartan got a bit of the Lee syndrome there. Should not have went in, but he did get a kill. It was on someone not worth very much gold, and now Evelyn is on the run. BrokenShard lost vision.
Oh no, Nintendude! Cocoon has to flash it.
He's got to stay in vision. He doesn't want the stealth to re-hit.
His team's closer.
Yeah.
Oh, if he Cocoon, Daydreamin could have got.
But Probably says hello.
Finding hits though in the bottom lane, though we've got WizFujiiN running away, Probably at half. Nintendu trying to run away. Shockwave already has been used. Gets away, glitter lands on a BrokenShard. 1-for-1 inhibitor turret pickup.
Yeah, and now the top laners are both still alive. BrokenShard continues to chase. Bubbadub's arrived. The speed is great.
Ooh, the juke on the Cocoon keeps him safe. Daydreamin does not land, but there comes Zion. Slows down Probably. The Morgana ult not going to land into anybody. Zion gets the kick and takes out Probably 1v1, but Zion now not in a good spot. Can't get away. Shiphtur's got to be careful, though. RobertxLEE on the flank as well. Daydreamin not in a good spot. Shiphtur still on the run. Morgana very low. Rocket takes him out 2-1. For compLexity.Black, now Shiphtur, the flash comes in, the shield. Nintendude's around.
All right, Freak, last series, it was a little crazy because it seemed like Cloud9 Tempest was not willing to flash forward to kills. That's all compLexity.Black is doing. Everybody flashed forward in that last fight. All 5 flashes are down, and now they force a Baron. You think better of it, though.
Yeah, smart choice. That would not have gone well. compLexity.Black do back off right now, but in the long haul, it's brought the game now to 1,600 gold.
Yeah.
Coast did get back in this game, but compLexity.Black scored for Dragon.
This game's going to be real crazy. See ZionSpartan's strength right here. This begins the forever fight, as we could call it at this point. Not able to close on Nintendude, and watch the map movements throughout this entire thing. I mean, even in the bottom lane, everyone becomes involved eventually. Corki ends up cleaning up kills. This is just the longest fight possible. Everyone sticks around because no one wants to give up on the play. This time Bubbadub still goes, but Daydreamin tries to save. Nintendude, even though he's a low health and low mana, should have given up on the play, decided to continue. Since Zion decided to go in, everyone is kind of on their own and the same page at this point. The same page of being their own, I guess. Different page.
Yes.
Yeah, but well, it's not, it didn't work out for
Choose your own adventure book.
Yeah.
You keep flipping back and forth.
Page 3, enter the LCS. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds about right. If you choose to gank top, go to page 7. ZionSpartan, though, I gotta point out, not really respecting his lane matchup. He goes for Spectre's Cowl. He's like, you know what? Probably's my biggest threat. The guy I'm not fighting in lane just has the last whisper picked up for more dueling potential. He'll cut through the Randuins of Westrice and lifesteal the rest of it out. Level 15 to 14 there in the matchup. Probably about to hit 15 himself. One wave away from that. And it's still so far just been the Zion and actually Nintendude show. Like, Nintendude's super massively stepped up so far this series.
And something we really need to call attention to is just Prawley's decimation of Shiphtur in the mid lane. What happened there? Shiphtur is ranked by many as the second best mid laner in the US. And he is getting beasted 1v1 by Prawley's Orianna. Prawley not an LCS mid laner, former LCS mid laner. 50 CS up on Shiphtur's Lulu, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Death
2-1-3 versus 0-2-0 in a game that's 1 kill apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying he's up to death cap, yeah.
I was talking with Scar yesterday, and he was saying that Shiphtur's 1v1 mechanics, Scar thought they were better than Bjergsen's, and that Shiphtur has even more power 1v1. Prawley showing something different right now.
Bottom lane staying safe. Coast, their only turret kills are all top lane. Yeah. Zion's the only turret killer on Coast right now. It's the open inhibitor. He's pressing onto that one.
This game has just become really unbalanced as far as where the strength is put. There is such weakness within the rest of Coast and such strength in the top lane that any fight where ZionSpartan isn't a part of it, compLexity.Black just wants to jump all over. But they're so worried about him now because of the exposed inhibitor, they have to play the rest of the map 3v4.
They do, and you're seeing this, like, Nintendude's chilling in the bottom lane. And I'm actually surprised Coast didn't just re-engage in that into 3v2 they had right there, because RobertxLEE was playing super aggressive to chase out damage on Daydreamin. But Coast don't really want the fights anywhere else. I feel like some of their members are actually playing a little bit afraid, because they feel like they're losing that heavily. AD carries actually are equal on items, to be completely fair. Until someone goes to shop, yeah, they're equal power.
It's about 800 gold advantage on Robert.
It's not that high.
I'd say the scaling of Lucian, if they are to hit 6 items, is better than Corki, but until then it's extremely comparable. Corki maybe even a little stronger in team fights if he gets the right missiles off.
Yeah, they can definitely outdo Culling in certain situations. Zion, 16 at the Giants belt, so just wants the Cal for MR, then goes back for likely Randuin's. But he is pretty much half an item up on Westrice right now. There's almost no way that Renekton wins the duel. We've seen that constantly, but I think even as items mature, it's still the situation. Bottom lane still held up here by Coast. They're keeping Robert and Bubbadub around, but here comes the flank. It's been spotted by Coast.
It has been. They have to run as quickly as possible, and immediately you can see Zion moves to aggress Westrice. This will be very key. How long does compLexity keep this going? Because Zion would probably get an inhibitor on the other side.
Double Glitter Lance, 2-man shockwave as well, but Prawley is caught out alone. He has flash, but he can't use it in time. The Hex from Shiphtur get Coast to kill.
Overconfidence by the 4v4 on compLexity.Black there puts Prawley out of position and makes him die. Westrice also focusing Zion because Zion was trying to kill an inhibitor. You can't ignore a Renekton, even if you can beat him 1v1.
And the ultis traded out for this one, both level 16 anyway. Heck, that's actually, at this point, Renekton's buffed from what he was before. Rank 16 ulti is quite strong.
Yeah, it actually gives him a humongous amount of health. And double the damage of the level 11 ult per second.
Oh, nice, the flash! The cocoon's gonna land as well. Zion gets a Mikhail's, but it's got nowhere to go. He flashes. Finally safeguards away. The team keeps him just safe enough. He goes back in.
Crazy, man.
BrokenShard way too aggressive. Now Westrice forced to run away. The binding will not land. The culling comes through, hitting damage on a Bubbadub, who's gonna go down as well despite his flash. Coast find 2 more kills.
Coast leveraging their split push strength well right now. They are forcing compLexity into split decisions, and compLexity's making the wrong call. BrokenShard is another example of that, where he went up and came down in a whole lot of trouble. Now, Coast forces Baron 5v3 with no smite threat on the other side.
Oh, here we go. What's the attempt going to be? 3v5, fighting on a Robert. Prawley's around. Here comes Westrice. 2-man shockwave. Baron picked up by Nintendude. The fight begins. Robert kicked to the wall. Going to jump with Valkyrie. 1 hit to go, and Lucian will claim it. Goes in towards Prawley now. Big damage, but Westrice is there to try to fire back. Not going to get anything for this one. Glitter Lance, will it come out? Whimsy goes in for Zion. Lands the Q.
Ooh.
No dive.
Still, they get the Baron. They got 2 members of compLexity flashing red, and they killed Robert. The gold lead is slingshotted back to Coast, and they are now the ones in control in this game because the rest of the team has managed to mostly catch up on items.
It's very impressive with these guys. Let's watch that fight again for fun.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, compLexity was hoping against hope that they could get a team fight before the Baron was finished. They tried the shockwave, did not work, and through the spectacular play of Zion, he takes Robert out of the fight, meaning there is no sustained damage for compLexity, and they have to be in full retreat mode.
compLexity.Black does get the dragon off the recalls from Coast. They start the bleeding a little bit, but it's still a 1,500 gold deficit now for compLexity.Black. One of the first disadvantages I've seen from the team in quite some time. The lanes themselves even stabilizing. WizFujiiN's got a CS lead over RobertxLEE now. He's also got 2 kills. WizFujiiN's actually just got more gold now.
Yeah, bonus. Last Whisper, very good at cutting through what compLexity.Black is going to be doing when Corki builds the Last Whisper. In my opinion, it's not as effective because he does about half of his damage as magic damage. So WizFujiiN has outscaled RobertxLEE at this point. The utility from Shiphtur has came in big in teamfights, even though he got obliterated in laning phase by Prawley.
He's going to get his blue buff for himself, though. Okay.
Probably can't be happy about this one. He did such a good job in the laning phase. But Westrice was punished. And it has been a game about dealing with Lee Sin on Zion. He really wanted to take that one. It would have been a bad idea.
Only Dullif would do that.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Now bottom lane outer turret finally goes down 31 minutes in for Coast. Starting to make this game look a whole lot better. 2 tier 2 turrets still available in mid and bot. And we'll see Daydreamin and Nintendu setting up a trap in case someone shows. Looks like it'll be 2 top to defend Zion, which gives away the bottom tier 2. Here we go, Zion now forced runaway kick, does get the knockup, but he's been slowed by the red buff. That's gonna be enough.
He's such a threat. He's so good at Lee Sin. BF sword for a little bit of extra attack damage, and it's just remaining evidence that they have nobody to deal with what ZionSpartan has become. And now that there's the Baron buff on the other 4, as soon as they actually get a 4v3, they can take advantage of it, as opposed to just try and sit idly by while Zion does work. Coast is at home right now.
Getting a bit of damage. The Wave keeps compLexity.Black's home safe. But 6-4 in turrets, and now what is the game plan? The continued split push, pretty standard. Westrice goes in, Robert's there to make a play as well. Zion does not have the kick, he ward hops but does not have flash.
They
have to get him out.
really want ZionSpartan out of there. They consistently have to send up RobertxLEE, which leaves almost no damage with the core compLexity team and no threat on the rest of the map. Unless they can catch him, they're not even going to get gold at this point because they're getting starved out of their jungler. Even if they do catch Zion, there's still 4 other people on Coast and no damage with the rest of compLexity to do anything with. It would just delay the inevitable at this point unless they make a different play.
Well, we'll see when compLexity.Black can turn things on. Do they keep the communication going? Do they find a new play to make? They were all about going in for things in the early game. One fight got turned around, and do they get silenced because of this? Probably gets the shield up.
They got to go. They see that Lee Sin's top. They want to try to find fights without him, but anytime they don't get an immediate initiation, and Coast is able to disengage with the Black Shield and the Lulu, which are all very good at disengaging, it's just a frustrating performance right here for compLexity. There's nothing they can really do.
Well, Daydreamin loses some health though, so the harass is working okay for the red team here. They are slowly losing out in gold though. You're seeing 55.8 to 52.8, so 3,000 gold per Coast. Now the jungle's being taxed away. Smited well by BrokenShard though, gets that. Locket of Arn Solari picked up for him, so some extra MR for the team when they fight against the Lulu and Evelyn. Zhonya's now just completed for Prawley. He's still ahead of Shiphtur, who's actually going for Void Staff next, so Prawley's actually less damage focused. Shiphtur's going to be adding a bit more punishment here.
Yeah, he wants the Zhonyas, I imagine, to avoid the instant burst of ZionSpartan, because that that messed up Prawley in the mid lane in one of these fights. But really, with an open inhibitor, I think the split push story continues for Coast. Now it's kind of, how do they actually close out these games? They have had many small leads over teams in the LCS and have great trouble closing. They're still only up 2 turrets. They're still only up 3,000 gold. Where do they move to close? They want to force Baron and they want to get picks.
Well, pink ward on Baron. Respawns in 127. 120 till Dragon comes up. Zion's going to keep accruing gold. He's got a Bloodthirst. He's stacking it up now. He's added even more damage to his build, but he's going to only have Banshee's Randuins for tank stats. Can compLexity.Black, if they find him in a fight, burst him down quickly enough? It's a question to keep in mind. Black Shield and Lulu in general will keep him alive a little bit longer. No binding on a Bubbadub, WizFujiiN pushed away. Now the bottom side's getting aggressed on, though. No one is going to stop Zion just yet. Finally the recall from Westrice. But now that Westrice added Banshees, he's even less available to stop Zion's damage output.
Zion's stacking up Bloodthirster while all this is happening. He's going to look to TP in after he neutralizes Westrice potentially. Or they just want to catch Prawley in a 4v4. compLexity's got to be careful not to split up their team like they did at the Dragon Pit, which kind of got them in this pickle in the first place.
Coaster up 3,000 gold, 2,000 that was on Zion. So theoretically a 4v4 is still a gold lead, but Shockwave! Shiphtur forced away. WizFujiiN a bit low as well. The fight begins. Nintendude forced to run. BrokenShard still on the chase in the top side. Coast looking to re-collapse down.
Right now, though, Prawley is out of mana, and he is the main threat for their team. That's the fights compLexity needs to force, but they don't have the finishing power. They have the Shockwave, and then the chase just isn't enough. The Lulu and Morgana is too much on the disengage side.
Oh, Zion's going to get a little bit greedy for this blue buff there because BrokenShard is right here to secure it. Westrice coming down. No one is in range to help Zion right now. Smite is available for Broken.
They really need this on Prawley. That's why Broken doesn't want to steal it. Zion's going to try, though. He knows how important it is. If they can deny the blue buff, that means the Baron sieging becomes next to impossible for compLexity. Good secure. But speaking of the Baron control, Coast can just rush it now. No ward control. They spotted Prawley over there. Great call by Coast.
They got to be careful about Smite. Steals both these guys. Great Smiters. Hex comes through. Is it enough to keep BrokenShard away? Repels in.
Oh, is that low enough?
He jumps forward. Oh, good Smite by Nintendo. Takes it away. BrokenShard stays alive, blocked, culling by Westrice, and here comes the battle. Lee Sin is not joining the fight. He will get an inhibitor if Coast are alive.
Wow, that was so near to a steal by compLexity.Black, and now Lee Sin's taking an inhibitor on the other side.
Recall away the teleport from Westrice. Is it going to be enough now? He's going to be joining the fight soon enough, but the kill goes on to BrokenShard. 1 for 0 plus Baron. Inhib turret's gone. Inhib itself is at half. Zion ignoring the Renekton, just hitting it in the face. That's a little bit of damage. Says, you know, I'm going to keep in this duel. Kicks him back. There's actually big damage in this fight. Westrice
a lot of AD.
Running. Double dash the way he's going to be safe.
Yeah, the rest of compLexity.Black is desperately trying to do stuff, but Robert's kind of all alone on this one. He might get duel.
Zion doesn't want to take this fight, though, but there's a red buff Corki. There's no kick for Lee Sin. He does have flash. Nintendude is waiting. Robert smartly backs off. Binding hits Prawley, though.
Seriously, Freak, that Baron take
by
Coast was not calculated.
No.
In the slightest. BrokenShard Q'd it, but didn't even get his smite off. That's how close it was. You can try to Q smite at exactly the frame. Somehow Nintendo got his smite in before BrokenShard's, and BrokenShard's didn't go off. What a ridiculous turn of events here. This might just push Coast over the edge in game 1.
Well, our featured matchup was Nintendude versus BrokenShard. And it all crystallized in that 2-second window.
Really.
And it's the story of the game. Nintendude, every single turn, has slightly outperformed BrokenShard. 3-0-2 to 2-3-4. Got the early lead, got the early kills, picked up the Lizard Elder, outsmited, got ZionSpartan rolling in a rough matchup that he was initially losing.
Yeah.
And that meant the game for Coast.
One gank after another to just destroy for ZionSpartan. ZionSpartan has had very inconsistent play throughout the LCS split. One of the big reasons they got here, he carried so many of their earlier games in the year with his Jax play.
Yeah.
Before Jax was, you know, a respected band. And then he only got a couple done on Lee Sin. He had a lot of games where he really had no impact. This is not one of those games, though. Showing up when it matters. The experience in promotion tournaments. Coast barely even made it to this game because they almost guaranteed their LCS spot in their best of 3 against Dignitas.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a long series, and even this game isn't even over yet. Coast is not the type of teams that can finish games out really quickly, so the door is always open for an error or a misplay.
Yeah.
Gotta keep focused.
Think back to Coast's Week 11 game against Cloud9. They had a way bigger lead than this, and Cloud9 came back in. Now, to be fair, there's no 7-kill Nocturne with a whole bunch of items swimming in the bottom lane, but it's a thing to keep in mind is as soon as someone can stand up to Zion, that matchup flips rather quickly. Randuin's Omen done. They push now to the top lane that has no turret. Hasn't had one for a while.
Yeah. It's against the 4-1 again and again and again. No one on compLexity's team can deal with ZionSpartan, especially with his Randuin's completed on top of the Spectre's Cal. And they might even look to collapse down since they are so inside compLexity.Black's base. Zion would pull off a flank if the initiation were to happen, and maybe even try to kick someone back into the Ghost team if they siege down this inhibitor. Nice find.
Jump in, Nintendude in the front lines, taking it up. Shockwave only hits Daydreamin, who flashes out. Westrice tanks the culling. Rockets come in, but Zion's hitting Nexus turrets right now.
It's a push-pull right now for Coast. They're pulling compLexity on one side and pushing the inhibitor on the other.
There we go, inhibitor number 2 goes down, meaning only Nexus turrets and the middle inhibitor stand in the way. Coast back out. Daydreamin gets hit up for a little bit of damage. Black Shield comes on low, almost going down, gets the Lulu ulti to keep himself alive. And compLexity.Black forced back away.
Even with a clean catch onto Morgana, they can't finish here. Everyone tries to jump onto Zion, and they can't finish him either. Flash!
Oh, he jukes it, goes in for the damage. Doesn't quite find enough, kicks BrokenShard back though, keeping himself safe. That was
It
awesome.
looked really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what it accomplished. It accomplished fear.
Yes, it did.
Maybe. Mainly the super minions are here, and inhibitor respawns. They want to make a return for that one. And Zion, because he burned his flash in his ultimate for some fanciness, he would have had to burn flash regardless. He flashed in for the style.
Should have 1 flash for 2, to be fair.
Yeah? Yes, he did.
Yeah, Roberts is down. Zion actually started TPing to that ward, then immediately was like, wait, no, never mind. So that's on cooldown now for 3 minutes.
Whoops.
Like the ball was on top of it, and he was like, you know what, that would be a shockwave and a bad idea.
He doesn't know that.
Well, he stopped teleporting, so yes, he does.
A blue buff scale for Shiphtur. A very run-of-the-mill game for Shiphtur. Really, Zion doing his best to just carry this game. The rest of Coast had to play from behind most of this time, and did a very good job catching Prawley in the mid-game here.
There we go, Dissonant Nintendude losing 1/3 of his health. He does not have, honestly, enough MR to deal with Prawley. Prawley's gigantic. 4 big items, plus Sork Shoes. Cocoon lands on a Zion.
compLexity needs a miraculous fight right here.
Oh, that's a 2-man shockwave. Daydreamin barely staying alive in this one. BrokenShard's forced away. That's the kind of fight they want, and Bubbadub tanks the culling, doesn't even care about it.
Shockwave down, that's Prawley. He is a threat, but who else is going to do stuff? Westrice is having to burn all his spells just to clear super minions. See what Fusion can do here with the push.
We're going to have Coast maybe backing away. Cocoon not going to land. BrokenShard takes damage, though. Get the shield a little bit too late. Shiphtur, of course, already wearing that blue buff. I think the Coast squad will back off for now, and they're going to give time for the inhibs to respawn with Baron and Dragon 30 seconds to a minute away.
So interesting here. Because Coast has a big lead. A really big lead.
Yeah.
And 2 exposed inhibitors. Nintendude should not have gotten poked down by Prawley.
Yeah.
He had played a very good game up until that point, and it's most likely not going to cost them. But especially in a best-of-5 here, he can't be making little siege mistakes like that when they're playing a split push composition the way they are most likely going to be doing this whole time. Fair enough.
Okay, compLexity.Black, they break the black shield, but Daydreamin gets the black shield down. Spell shield was broken, Banshees. And gets away from the CC, but compLexity.Black, now they're in the Baron pit.
They don't have long. They basically have to do this immediately or peel. They're going all in. There are super minions that would kill their Nexus turrets. They have to get Baron and fight.
Dropping dangerously low, the fight's gonna come in. Here comes the engage. Who's gonna get it? Shockwave comes in. Zony's popped by Prawley. Spike goes to BrokenShard, and the fight is there. Zion forced away, gets the Mikhail seal. Hugh goes down. compLexity.Black 1 for 0 so far. BrokenShard to the back lines. Can Coast clean up? BrokenShard will fall. The fight's still going on. WizFujiiN, can he turn up big? He has to turn back. Westrice gets the damage, but he goes down. Nintendude trades his life in for that one, and now Shiphtur kind of alone on this one. Good slow from Daydreamin.
compLexity.Black actually has to just go back to their base. The minions are killing their Nexus during all this fight.
Minions are doing so much right now. The recalls are getting stopped. You're seeing only 1 Nexus turret alive. The inhib respawn. They can't fight.
Wow.
The inhib is back alive.
So they get the Baron, they lose one Nexus turret, and their desperation play does pay off. What a fortunate inhibitor respawn right there. Obviously, you could say they timed it. Maybe they did. That was a big ballsy play right there by compLexity.Black. It means the gold is even. It means Prawley is still a threat. Robert has his Infinity Edge. Oh my.
Yeah. And Robert's going full damage. He's going for Blade of the Ruin King last. And it's a funny thing, actually. When you get into hyper endgame Corki, Trinity Force is actually not good at 8 items.
Yeah, this fight one more time. You can see the Shockwave just hit Zion, but we actually haven't seen compLexity.Black against Coast in a 5v5. As fed as Lee Sin can get, he's not a huge threat in these condensed 5v5s. He gets bursted down while trying to take the Baron, and then it's just a battle with one team with Baron and the other team without it. Shiphtur's Lulu was actually very potent in these team fights. If you just watch the way the Glare Lance was slicing through right there, they get down Westrice. Such a close fight here. Shiphtur nearly falling. If he would have went down with the inhibitor respawn, it might have actually been a turret push left over for compLexity.Black. Even so, now they're wearing the Baron, which means they can stall.
Yeah, and they went +1 in that fight, so 3 guys wearing Baron buffs for compLexity.Black. Here we go, let's see. Coast, 4,500 gold up. They're down about that much with 3 Baron buffs on, so it's roughly equal power if you wanted to actually get into a dedicated fight with gold being the sole determinant.
But can they get one?
Well,
that was a unique situation.
Of course.
Where they did such a desperate play that Coast felt they had to answer, and they got a 5v5. Coast can't let them have 5v5s in the open.
And Zion's done getting items. He's fully capped out. That he was before the Baron fight even went down. He has nothing else to get unless he sells something and like replaces boots or whatever.
And Prawley actually accelerated to his 6-item build. He built Morella Nomikov last time, so he's hitting 40% CDR, even without the blue buff. He still wants the blue for the mana regen, but that's really powerful for Prawley, being 6 items. 6 items on Robert as well. compLexity.Black would love to just force quickly and just plow down a minute as quickly as they could before ZionSpartan gets going on a side lane.
See if they can find that. Looks like all the lanes going well for compLexity.Black, so it would take Zion time to get himself where he wants to be. He exposed himself to getting ganked. There's no wards topside, which is where he's going right now. It is 2 exposed inhibitors. There is only 1 turret there that Zion could probably solo, to be honest.
Yeah, they do not have long for this. If they want to go, they would have to go immediately. What they might try to do is a 4v4. If they think Westrice is strong enough to hold off Zion, then he needs to even stop him from recalling. What's happening now, though, where they don't have vision on Zion, means they can't go in 4v4 because they don't know if Zion's actually waiting in the wings.
Well, all teleports are available. No poke quite lands from Coast.
Prawley's inching the ball forward right here. He's not keeping it on himself. He's trying to keep it as far forward as possible and find a shockwave that way. If he gets it, they're going to go. But meanwhile, Westrice has his hands full. I don't think he can deal with Zion.
And Zion not taking much damage. Inhibitor down to about half HP. Zion doing what he can for the battle. And he is ignoring the Crocodile, the Safeguard, the Iron Will. The inhib will fall. And the team now leaving the mid lane. Looks like compLexity.Black wants to collapse onto Zion. They're going for it. Pulling on a BrokenShard, though. The re-engage. Nintendu somebody gets away.
compLexity.Black can't deal with Lee Sin. And unless they're willing to go hard and fast up the mid lane with 4 or 5 people, they will lose this game. ZionSpartan in a 1v1. It happened before in this game when he took the inhibitor with Westrice in his face. compLexity.Black should not have let it happen again, and it might cost him the game.
And probably just burned his flash on the escape as well. So even the 4v4 went Coast's way ever so slightly. Shiphtur's going to get his own blue buff there. He's got a little bit of room to go to Lich Bane. Waiting for about another 1,000 gold until that item gets completed. Sorry, 300. I was looking at the wrong guy. But
big gold.
Still some time to go. Yeah.
I mean, gold-wise, compLexity is catching up. Their turtle is working out. But there's 6 items on their 2 main carries. It was time to force while their inhibitor was up, and now they need to wait for it to respawn again, especially because they're down a Nexus turret.
Yeah.
It means their Nexus dies even faster. Yeah. If the super minions stack up.
One fight is basically game, and there's an inhibitor creating pressure right now. Pink ward goes down for Bubbadub. I actually want to point out that one thing on Nintendude. We talk about him a lot, got a lot of flack. He actually has way more minions than I've almost ever seen him get. He's out-golden the opponent jungler, which I almost never see. The fact that Nintendo has items this game.
14,000 gold.
Yeah, it's helping significantly. I don't like that he went from Hexdrinker to Maul Memortius instead of like Banshees. He's been dying rather quickly, but if he can get a bit tankier, he can be that frontline tank that ZionSpartan isn't.
Look how long it takes for Nectin to clear these waves. Up top lane, he's trying to make sure it's shoved out.
Oof. Black Shield blocks the Cocoon.
Yeah.
Binding, almost hits Zion and Westrice in the 1v1. Looks like Zion doesn't really want this fight though.
Yeah, so if compLexity.Black can keep the Super Minion wave pushed near the halfway point, they can still force a Baron. They want to recreate the scenario where they kind of got themselves back in this game in the first place, and that is all that Coast is trying to stop them from doing. If they can keep the mid lane pushed up and the top lane pushed up, then they Baron is theirs.
Someone has to always stop Zion. That's the thing right there. Westrice is
and
there.
Not even Westrice. He can't stop him if it's in his face. He can only stop him in the open.
And again, the poke coming out for compLexity.Black. There is a bottom lane slowly pushing in that will build up for Coast. They're going to cut that short, though, and run right up there. This minion wave, if they kill it, it's an even faster push from the minions. Zion, though, in a 1v2. Big burst comes out from Probably. He's got to be careful. Jumps to a ward. And the bottom inhibitor. It's going to fall. Robert, huge culling damage. The summoner heal keeps him alive. The ignite, another summoner heal keeps him alive. But WizFujiiN, he flashed too far. He gets the McHale's. He's trying to run away. He just barely gets out, but the Randuin slow is there. There's BrokenShard. More slows. Another Black Shield comes back up. He's alive, but the binding on a Westrice. This could be big. Zion's right there on the wings. 2 inhibs are down, and there's minions flooding in.
I love what Coast is doing here. They are just making compLexity.Black run back and forth and catching them in the crosshairs. This could be it for them. They're down 2 inhibitors, pushing in 1 Nexus turret up, and Probably has no mana left.
Zion down to half. Probably's got to get some home cards to get himself back in. He's got the item. He's got to be out of combat for 6 seconds to get his mana pool back up. Looks like he's made his way back in. Bottom Nexus turret very low. Flash Cocoon not going to land.
That could be the last Flash Cocoon he gets to try. It depends on how Coast continues to rotate here. They're not wanting a Baron thing to happen, but now since they've killed 2 inhibitors, that's a full-time defender for compLexity.Black, and if they desert, they would lose their Nexus.
Zion pushes the bottom lane to make that happen. 2 guys in the base, but if it's not BrokenShard, the steal could always happen.
And Zion can stay in the base. If compLexity even sends for defenders, he will kill a Nexus turret in the face of Westrice. He's done it before.
He absolutely will. Mid lane not going to push out. Cocoon hits Shiphtur. That actually gives vision to compLexity.Black. They know it's being hit. Ward's trying to be swept away by Daydreamin. He's got to be careful. 4 versus
Robert
3.
actually flanking onto Zion.
Going for the turret right now. This turret is going to drop down, but he will take a lot of punishment for it. Can Zion get away? Top inhib respawns. Safeguard, but the crit from Robert gets the kill, and a kill comes in for Probably as well, plus the Baron for BrokenShard. It's a 5v3 on the map.
He stole the Baron while Probably gets a kill and Robert collapsed. They might go for it right here. They have the Baron. They got half a mana pool on Probably. They have 2 carries down on Coast on long death timers and a minion wave where it matters. They might try and win right here, Freak.
Nintendo was almost trying to back.
Oh my God.
Recall now. Westrice is on defense. He's going to teleport in. No one's going to stop.
They have to go immediately. They could actually win this game 53.5 minutes in miraculously because of the steal, because of the kills onto the 2 carries. They're going for it right
40
now.
seconds to go. Westrice in front, gets the shields intended. Big ulti comes in. He's got shields as well. They put as much damage down as possible. Daydreamin will land the stun and a bit of a slow, but the top turret is going to go down. Now for number 2, do they have the damage? WizFujiiN is trying, but Nexus turret number 2 is going to fall. compLexity.Black trying their hardest. They're going to take down the Nexus for game 1.
Holy crap. That game was ridiculous, Freak. 54 minutes with no Nexus turrets remaining. They steal a Baron, they kill the split pusher, and then they win. They just went straight up the mid lane for the first time in 54 minutes and made it happen. You can see how ridiculously excited they were after that one because that matters. They're 2 wins away from the LCS now, and they were losing